Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very happy to share with you my first ever king's cake on YouTube, at least in English. And in French you will call this Galette des Rois. It is a super traditional cake that you eat around the first weekend in January, whether it is religious or not. Personally, it is not, but I still love to eat it. It is such an amazing cake, and it is filled with puff pastry and almond cream inside. And today I'm going to make a very special one, since we are going to make a praline Galette des Rois, which basically means that it will be flavored with some roasted hazelnuts and almonds and walnuts. It will just taste amazing, so let's get right into it. In order to make an amazing praline Galette des Rois, we need to make the praline cream first. And I'm going to start by making a syrup out of regular granulated sugar and water, and I'm going to put this on the stove and let it boil until it reaches a temperature of 118 degrees Celsius, and that is 244 degrees Fahrenheit. It will take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on your stove, and then once we reach that point, we're gonna add all of our nuts, which is a combination here of hazelnut, walnuts and almonds that I've already roasted for about 10 minutes in my oven at 180 degrees Celsius until they smelled amazing. And I'm just going to mix this with a wooden spoon. Don't worry if the sugar crystallizes, it's fine, you are not in trouble, since it will cool down again, since you're gonna keep this on the stove until the sugar melts and becomes caramel. And if you have a hard time reaching that point, you can definitely add some water as well. Once you have a gorgeous caramel, you're just going to spread everything into a prepared baking pan covered with some parchment paper, just to make sure that nothing sticks. And then you're gonna let this cool for at least 15 minutes. Once your nuts have cooled down a bit, we are going to mix everything and transform this into a paste. And this is what is going to create this praline paste. We're just gonna mix it for about 3 to 5 minutes, and you basically get a paste because of the oils in the nuts that get released thanks to the heat. Once your praline is ready, you can leave it aside and work on the almond cream. This is called in French frangipane, and it is the classic cream that you put into a king's cake. And basically we're going to use some room temperature butter that I'm going to cream with some white sugar, and then I'm going to add 1 large egg and 1 egg yolk, as well as some liqueur. This is an amazing Italian almond liqueur, which is called amaretto, and I just love it in my Christmas recipes, to be honest. I always pour some in there, and I'm going to add quite a few tablespoons and mix with my whisk. Amazing. Now we're gonna add some almonds, of course, which are ground. And I'm also going to add some ground hazelnuts because I want to intensify this hazelnut flavor. And I'm also going to sift in some cornstarch just to make sure that our cream is thick and not too runny. And then I'm going to whisk everything again with my whisk. Time to add the gorgeous praline paste, and I'm going to incorporate it with my spatula, and then we can add another important ingredient. Since I'm making here a traditional frangipane, I'm taking the extra step of adding some custard that I made myself. I already showed you many times in this YouTube channel how to make homemade custard, and this is no different, so I'm not going to share this recipe with you today. However, you can find the entire list of ingredients in the description box of this video, or you can also buy pre-made custard in the supermarket. I will not be mad, since there's quite a few steps already in this recipe, so you can always take the easy way. And I'm going to mix one last time until I have a thick and gorgeous cream. Time to work on our gorgeous puff pastry, and here I'm using the highest quality puff pastry possible. This comes straight from the boulangerie, so I did not make it myself, but an amazing baker did for me. But it is always nice to skip this step in such a recipe. And I'm just going to spread my puff pastry on my floured surface until it is quite thin, and then we can cut some circles. Time to cut some circles, and here I'm just going to cut some 20 centimeters, so 8 inches circle, which will be the size of our galette de Rois. And I'm gonna put the first one on our prepared baking sheet covered with some parchment paper. And then we're going to do something quite special and important when it comes to this recipe, which is basically cut some remaining puff pastry and create a circle around the puff pastry on top of our actual puff pastry, just to create extra puffiness on the sides and that your puff pastry is leveled up when it bakes. And I suggest using some egg whites for this step, just to make sure that everything sticks together. Amazing. Now I just wanted to make things a bit more formal today, so I actually piped my cream on top of a beautiful puff pastry, but you definitely don't have to do it this way if you are in a hurry or if you just don't care, but it looks really good. Now, an important step that I most of the time forget, to be honest, and I always have to put it back in, is a lucky charm. This is super important when it comes to king's cake, because traditionally in France you have to cut the cake, and the person that gets the lucky charm gets the crown and is the king or the queen, whatever he, she, they wants to be. And so you have to put the lucky charm in and make sure that it doesn't show. And then I'm just going to use more egg whites to seal everything with our second layer of puff pastry, and just make sure to be very gentle with it. This looks amazing, so now I'm going to brush some egg wash, which is basically an egg beaten with a little bit of water or cream, and I'm going to brush the top of my king's cake, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour. This is quite important to make sure that everything sets in the fridge before baking, and then we can create the gorgeous decorations. Time to decorate our cake since it was in the fridge for an hour, and now I'm just going to pierce the top of the cake, very important so that the puff pastry rises evenly, and I'm going to create my decorations with my knife. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it. I'm just going for a simple classic look today. Another important step is to pierce more holes in the puff pastry, just to make sure that the air goes out and does not create any bubbles or anything weird. And then I'm just going to decorate the sides with my knife. You can also use a fork or anything you would like, and it will look fabulous in the oven. Time to put our cake back in the fridge. Yes, I know, but it's important, for about 30 minutes. And then we can finally add a final layer of egg wash with our brush on top of the cake and bake it in our preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 40 minutes or so, or until everything is super golden brown and cooked through. And then I'm just going to make everything even more beautiful with some syrup. Indeed, now I'm just going to brush some syrup on top of our beautiful galette de Rois. This will just add another layer of fanciness and shine to your galette de Rois, and will make it look so professional without any fuss. And that's it. That's how you make traditional French galette de Rois, or king's cake if you prefer the English version. And now you know why it's called king's cake. It's because you become a king or a queen Once you cut into it and you break your teeth into the Lucky Charm, this can happen quite often, so be careful with that. You can find the entire list of ingredients in the description of this video, as well as my social media, so Instagram, and my account is Willis Kitchen. Please give me a follow there and also subscribe. Give this video a like and a comment if you want to chat, and I'll be very happy to respond. And see you soon for another amazing recipe. Bye!